everyone, thanks for the great turnout today. A huge thank you to the Australian Friends of Palestine and many groups and individuals for organising these rallies. Great respect for your continued hard work. Thank you for inviting this contribution from Extinction Rebellion as South Australia. It is an honour for us to be offered a platform to say a few words in support of the people of Gaza. We support them both as an organisation and as individuals. We share your distress, grief and outrage at the situation in Gaza and hope that a continued presence here keeps the people of Gaza in the hearts and minds of South Australians. We want the people of Gaza to know we are not looking away. I am overwhelmed to think of the fragility of human beings in the path of such full-scale military assault and consider this in the context of my own friends and family. I also think of the trauma for those Israeli people who have also been affected by the violence, and before I go on, would like to make an important distinction between the governing Israel Likud party led by PM Netanyahu and the Israeli people themselves. There are many Jewish people and organisations around the world, including a few in Israel, who are bravely speaking up in support of the Palestinian people. And it is clear that in Israel, religious differences are being used by a shameful and corrupt government to divide people and justify the committing of atrocities in order to maintain power and control. So we must not fall into the Zionist-laid trap of believing this conflict is about Jews and Muslims. It isn't. It is about greed and power. Extinction Rebellion is a world network of like-minded groups and individuals who use non-violent civil disobedience to pressure our governments to tell the truth and act now on the climate and ecological crisis. This crisis has been largely caused by the greed and pathological desire for growth of the fossil fuel industry, an industry which, history has shown, has absolutely no rules about what kind of governments it's willing to get into bed with to obtain access to the land and resources it demands. Genocide can also be understood as both a literal form of human-made extinction and as the cruelest and most barbaric of methods by which governments obtain control over land and resources. Whole cultures of people who are in the way of these interests are oppressed and ethnically cleansed to the point where they are forced to fight back or perish. And when they do fight back, they are painted as the enemy or terrorists and murdered en masse with impunity. Just ask the Indigenous people of Australia and indeed the First Nations peoples all over the world. It stands to reason that our Indigenous brothers and sisters were among the first to see what is happening now to the people of Gaza for what it actually is, the brutal endgame of a decades-long land grab. So Extinction Rebellion stands with all people who struggle for their right to exist against the oppressive forces of greed and acquisition over the world. In Australia, as in most of the world, governments are in lockstep with the oil and gas and coal industries. Our politicians are oiled into office or turfed out of office by the media organisations who willingly do the bidding of fossil fuel corporations. To our deep and abiding shame, Adelaide is the hometown of the Murdoch Press and hosts the headquarters of fossil fuel giant Santos, where our Premier's brother holds a senior position. So, here's the rub. It will be no surprise to you that there are substantial oil and gas reserves under the eastern Mediterranean seabed, including 122 trillion cubic feet of fossil gas. That's 122 followed by 12 zeros. The most accessible reserves are off the coast of Gaza. In 2002, the Palestinian Authority started developing the gas resource, but Israel moved to block this and declared sovereignty over the area in 2000.